Whittaker comes on set, right? The champ is here. I haven't seen Robert Whittaker in person since I met him, which was in a bathroom in the airport of LAX 4 years ago. So it was good to see him. And he also looked fantastic, looked strong. And he brought up a really interesting point. You know, so much has been made about the history leading to this fight, just in the short term. The history in the short term is that the guy who comes from absolutely out of nowhere, the kickboxing world, nobody in MMA knew him, comes on the Dana White Contender Series, looks fantastic, and now all of a sudden is almost the face of the organization. One win away from being the face of the organization, and his name is Israel Adesanya. Oh, and by the way, in that short span of time, he also won a world championship. Then you've got more of a chiseled veteran in Whittaker, who came up the hard way through the Ultimate Fighter. Equally as hard. Adesanya came up a hard way too, but Whittaker comes through the Ultimate Fighter. He wins. He starts at the bottom of the payroll, the bottom of the cards, moves his way up. Now he is a world champion, a top 5 ranked pound-for-pound fighter. But he suffered 2 injuries since the last time we've seen him compete. In his last contest, a 5-round fight with Yoel Romero, he breaks his hand in the 3rd round, somewhere in the 3rd round. He finishes that round and 2 more and uses that broken hand the entire time, which means what? He's got to go heal. Well, as soon as he heals, he draws into a main event title fight right here in Australia against #1 contender Kelvin Gastelum. The day before the fight, he ends up rushed by ambulance to the emergency room. His intestine got like tied in a knot. He could have died. And he tried to fight anyway. He thought he just had like stomach cramps. So fortunately how that story worked out. But the relevance is he's been out. He's been out of action for a little bit of time. Now he has to return home. He's got to return home in front of a record-setting crowd. He's got to return home against the interim champion. Now let me give you a quick tale of the tape fact that I think will catch you guys by surprise. Whittaker is 2 years younger than Adesanya. It appears because Whittaker is such a veteran of MMA that Adesanya is the new younger guy. Adesanya actually is 2 years older than Whittaker, but the storyline of Whittaker to underperform in this contest, and he's going to underperform because of pressure. Now, pressure is always one of these words that people love to speak about, and they're more talking about things that happen in their own life, all the way back from Little League to junior high, to the courts and fields in high school, where they buckled to some level of pressure. And it's a very real thing. I don't attempt to condescend about it. I will just share for you, if we were to point out what pressure does, it only does one thing. It creates a fatigue and a stress, and it can make you tired faster. That's it. Other than that, it does not affect an athletic competition. So, with that in mind, I asked Whittaker about that. I said, by the way, I'm about to see you fight in front of 56,000 people, which is supposed to be a high-pressure situation, of which many people question that you can hold up. But the first time I saw you fight was on the set of The Ultimate Fighter. No announcer, no introduction, no walkout music. 20 people there, largely staff members. That had to be very weird. So just guess for me. I know you've never fought in front of 56,000, but you can close your eyes and envision it. Versus having fought 3 times in front of 20 people. Thank you very much. Oh, that looks beautiful. Thank you.
No almond milk, but soy milk.
We got a little almond for Nate Diaz? Nate Diaz style?
Hey?
Little almond milk?
No almond milk, but soy.
Oh, soy. Yeah. All right. I'll let Nate know.
Yes,
Is it? I appreciate that. I think you're messing with me. I can't tell. I'll tell Nate, though. We'll see what he thinks.
Oh, no.
Thank you, buddy.
My pleasure.
So, but this is very interesting. This was interesting to me. Robert Whittaker, what is more awkward? To fight in front of a ton of people or to fight in front of nobody? He said, Chael, easily fighting in front of nobody. He said, you know how weird that was? There was no noise. I would bounce up and down in the octagon. I could hear the noises of the metal of the cage. He said, if I kicked my opponent, I could hear the noise it would make. If my opponent punched me, he could hear me groan in discomfort. He said, if I could go through that, and I did. Thank you again. If I could go through that 3 times successfully, and I did, I have no problem. In fact, I have a yearning for a loud and rambunctious crowd. That will feel normal to me. And you know what? I accept that answer. And I do think that 56,000 is a very special thing, and I do believe he's dealing with some pressure, and I do believe that that's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that even he will never experience again. I think he's got not only an opponent on his side, he's got some geographical issues on his side. So when you factor that into the fact, or you juxtapose that against the Ultimate Fighter, of which, by the way, I had two, I had two experiences with. Fought on it once through, I apologize, coached on it once in Vegas, coached on it once in Brazil. I know exactly what he's talking about. It is a weird thing to walk into a quiet room. It's almost like a practice sparring session, except you're going full speed. So if you want to talk about weird things that he has been to, if you want to talk about unique, once-in-a-life opportunity things that he's been to, I realize it's a polar opposite, but it's still a very fair comparison, and he fared just well.